Again, a very warm welcome to this session, Open Innovation Ecosystems for Collaborative Co-Creation. I will be your moderator here. So my name is Maike Reimann from Steinbeis Europazentrum. I'm a project manager there for ICT, so Information and Communication Technologies and Industry 4.0 projects. I'm also involved in one of the projects that you will see here, the INEDIT project. And together with my dear presenters, we will be showing a little bit on collaborative co-creation. So with me today, we have Mahara Hassan from the Technical University of Berlin in Germany. We have Manuel Sanchez from IDIM in Spain. We have Chandana Ratnayake from Sintef in Norway. We have Laurent Dupont from the University of Lorraine in France. And we have Tobias Leiting and Andreas Külsbach from RWTH Aachen in Germany too. I just want to tell you that the special thing about this session, and this is what you see already with my presenters, is that we are really showing open innovation in a European context. So here we're really diving into the European context. And in Europe, open innovation, I would say, in such collaborative projects already is very, very much an incremental thing of such projects. So in those projects that will be presented, and maybe I can show you the projects as such, you will already see how collaboration works on a European scale. And something special about those projects, again, is that they are working on specific tools and methods and frameworks and platforms to enhance open innovation as such. So what we're having here is I'm going to give you a little introduction to the European context first. Then we will have the Opennex project presented by Mahara. And here we have a focus on company community collaboration for open hardware. We will see iProduce presented by Manuel, a social manufacturing framework. We will see DIY for You, a manufacturing of personalized, fast-moving consumer goods, co-creation through open innovation. And we will see the INEDIT project, an open innovation community for co-design in furniture manufacturing, also presenting a do-it-together approach by Laurent. After that, so these are really 4 selected projects, European collaborative projects. After that, also partners from the INEDIT project. Tobias and Andreas will take you through business models in open innovation. And here this tackles all of the projects. And for this, this will also be one of the first panel questions. So after that, we will enter a panel and there we will also take up your questions. Then maybe coming to the overall European context. So I here took some quotes from the European context for you, because I think this is the best way to show you how Europe thinks about European collaboration or open innovation there. So what we have found is a quote like, open innovation is based on the fundamental idea that useful knowledge is now widespread through society. No one organization has a monopoly on great ideas, and every organization, no matter how effective internally, needs to engage deeply and extensively with external knowledge, networks, and communities. So this is kind of the statement saying, we are better together. Then we have kind of, let me see this one. There is another quote which I found quite nice because it takes us into the direction also of the panel and presentations today. Open innovation is about involving far more actors in the innovation process, from researchers to entrepreneurs to users to governments and civil society. We need open innovation to capitalize on the results of European research and innovation. This means creating the right ecosystems, increasing investment, and bringing more companies and regions into the knowledge ecosystem. Here, I think the main thing is saying you have to involve different stakeholders. Maybe this is not the case for innovation projects of one company. Maybe they want to keep with one other company or academia for open innovation. But on the European context, we very, very often really try to involve many different stakeholders and create the right ecosystems. This is a more recent picture of the European Commission, but having that same focus, saying we should really involve different stakeholders. Here it's the public authorities, industry, academia, citizens. They build kind of a quadruple helix for this, for the Open Innovation 2.0. And here again, it says cross-fertilization is very important. But now we're coming to one of my favorite pictures, which you can find on the European Commission website. And this is really saying you have to connect. And in this picture, what I specifically like is that the EU is sitting up there on the cloud. They're having kind of that socket board to plug in, which they're kind of leading down. On the left, you have university, then you have industry on the right. Down there, you also have local governments, you have the people, you have the SMEs, and all of them would connect into that one socket board. So this is really connecting different organizational types and also the people. What I'm not that sure if this was on purpose, but it looks like the SMEs and also the local governments are, it's harder for them to really reach this board, which in fact might be the case, but we are working on this and you will also see that within the projects. Another maybe explanatory picture here, this is quite old, but it still holds true, is kind of defining the closed innovation as a more centralized inward-looking innovation. Of course, there you don't cooperate too much with partners. We have the open innovation, which is more externally focused, also on the input side as well as on the output side. And what we will see today in our panel is rather the open innovation networks and ecosystems. Here you really have ecosystem-centric cross-organizational innovation, open innovation. And then just to say that there has been the Horizon 2020 program, which is the past framework program. We're having the new Horizon Europe program, which is the one running right now, which has just started. And here it is really that we can see, even if open innovation is kind of, if I put that in all those quotes, and so it is a huge open innovation program as such, because it is connecting those people. It is making them generate new knowledge and new products and new services together. So it is kind of a very, very incremental part of that program as such. So this research program and the past one are really, really based on collaboration. This is just a glance at the new program. And if you're not an insider there, don't worry. I'm not going to deeply explain this. I just wanted to show you that there are many areas like health and different things. We are within the project, we're going to show you today more in the field of Industry 4.0, so of the industry, digital and space. So this is what it is in the Horizon Europe program. But as our projects were already funded or started to be funded in the last program, we were still then called Factories of the Future. So that was the program there. And I'm going to quickly dive a bit deeper into the call, so where those projects applied to when they were funded. And this is in fact the FOF, so Factories of the Future 5, 2019. This is when it was called for. The project started 2020. It was under Horizon 2020 for Open Innovation Networks. And the call specifically said open innovation for collaborative production engineering. So it was in the area of manufacturing, engineering. And what was called for really was to put together microfactories, fab labs, do-it-yourself, makers, industry, to get to new projects and processes, functionalities, shorter time to market, but the very important thing, to build really a network of that, an open innovation network for new business opportunities. And I think it is not necessarily only SMEs and companies involved there, it's much more. Just a glance also at the scope of this call. So it was really going into the consumer's goods sector. I'm not going to say too much more about this because I think the next slide shows it even better. So what were the expected impacts or outcomes for this? So it was really wanted to build a Europe-wide open innovation manufacturing networks. It should be customer-driven production, increased product variety and customization, have some improved co-design and co-development capabilities, and specific business models. So not to go too deep here, maybe one interesting thing is this should have included social sciences as well, SMEs for sure, reusable data, inter-project collaboration, which we're doing today. So we have the sister projects all together here. And maybe just to see the funding was between 4 and 6 million. So these are projects which of course then involve different partners all across Europe. And you will see that in each and every presentation, who is collaborating within those projects, then the projects are collaborating with each other and with the outer world. So you will see that in the specific presentations very nicely. So last slide, the aims of the workshops really are, we have those projects under the Open Innovation for Collaborative Production Engineering under Horizon 2020, and we really want to showcase to you how they do collaborative co-creation. We have chosen those 4 projects. They will have examples for you. They show how a successful open innovation approach could work. They have practical examples, but also, of course, lessons learned, because it's not always that easy to collaborate on such a large scale. And we will also have a panel later on discussing and exploring the advantages of such big ecosystems, the EU context, but also the business models. So with this, I would already pass the word. I'm just having a look in the chat right now, and you didn't have any specific questions to my introduction, but I think you will learn much more during the next presentations. So feel free really to ask your questions into the chat, and I will then switch over to Mahara. And you could also, while I'm closing my presentation, put up your presentation already, while I'm shortly gonna introduce you. So you will see Mahara Hassan now from the Technical University of Berlin in Germany. She's presenting, as you can see already, the slides are visible very nicely. You can see the Opennex project, company community collaboration for open hardware. Mahara is a research associate at the Technical University. She's very passionate about mainstreaming open source community-based product creation. And there she's working for those company community collaborations. This is specifically also for SMEs, which I think are very, very important in that context. She brings along over 5 years of experience in an international context for manufacturing industry, and she's the co-manager or coordinator of this Opennex project. So we can see your presentation well, and the floor is yours, Mahara. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maika. Good afternoon also from my side. I am Mihera, and I am from the TU Berlin, the official coordinator of Opennex. And I'm here today to just tell you more about our project and how we want to establish company community collaboration for open hardware. So I would like to start my presentation with a statement that, or a vision that we all share within the Opennex consortium, is that the future for product creation is destined somehow to be open and community-based. So if we looked at today's industrial product creation, we find it to be expensive, risky, and also very unsustainable. And one reason for that could be simply the consequence of the current co-creation practices, such as super over-engineering, planned obsolescence, and also lack of inclusivity. So until now, the creation of products and services is taking place in R&D departments behind the company's closed doors. And the consumers and the users of those products has very little to do with this. Despite the fact that now with the technology going on also those community members or those users of products are showing and demonstrating high interest that they want to be part of the product creation process, that they want to customize products for their own selves. This is not the only case. They are not only interested in that, but they are also very capable of that. So if we put this on the side and then take the example of small and medium-sized enterprises within Europe here, the SMEs they contribute a lot. They have a massive contribution to the EU economy. At the same time, they are still facing great challenges when it comes to resource scarcity, to competition. So they need to just also make it and survive. So if we bring those two pieces together, companies that need supports to be able to overcome their challenges and also beat the competition, and community members who are eager to be part of the product creation process and put it together, then we might just now create a very interesting open innovation strategy for those SMEs, support them moving forward. So from here came the idea of what we call in Opennex company community collaboration, or that we are trying to crystallize. So just a quick introduction to Opennex itself. So Opennex is one of the 4 sister projects at 2020. As Micah just said, they are funded under the Horizon or under the European Union Research and Innovation Program as part of Edge 2020 Factory of the Future. So what are we trying to achieve within Opennex? So Opennex aims at establishing new collaboration modes between companies, and specifically we're focusing on small and medium-sized enterprise and also consumers and community members out there. Why we're doing that? We're trying to introduce a radical innovation approach to the way we design, produce, and also distribute our products in the future. So the consortium of Opennex is made up of 19 different partners from 7 different European countries. 6 of those partners are research institutions. We have 7 practice partners, including 4 makerspaces, and also 6 very interesting SMEs that has decided to join us in this journey to just demonstrate and try this approach out. So how everything is then set up. So as we said before, Opennex focuses on encouraging SMEs to just open up and move a bit and try to unleash the open source hardware potential through an engagement within such an ecosystem with fab labs, with maker spaces, with community members and the consumers out there. And in order to do so, we in Opennex wanted to just create or define the setup for such a thing. So within the consortium, we build up infrastructures, tools, frameworks, and also demonstrate how this could be possible with real examples. So within Opennex, we're looking into business model. We're developing ICT infrastructure to support this company community collaboration. We are also highly interested in prototyping and developing products together with those SMEs. And also we are providing, as I said before, just collaboration tools, and also that will support ongoing processes like documentations of design, like also maturity models to assess where do you stand and where do you need to enhance. So if we looked at the overall timeline of Opennex, we have set Opennex in a way that it's made up of 3 major phases. So there is the research and the developing phase that is going on from the beginning to the end of the project. It's an innovation action, but the project starts with this phase where both the researcher but also the practice partners comes together to look into requirements, to look into setting up the tools that will be developed throughout the projects. And then once this is done, we create what we call Opennex pilots. So 6 companies, each of them is paired with a makerspace, and then define the scope of a specific project where they want to co-create together with community members. And this has started last September, and it's going on until June. So we're now at the final phase now. End of this month, we're closing up the pilot phase, the 6 projects, we're doing the assessment, taking the learnings, consolidate them, and then we're recruiting. In the next phase, which is called Opennex demonstration phase, we're recruiting another 12 new SMEs to just try this one more time, but with all the learnings from the pilot phase in mind. So how then the whole pilot things and this collaboration between makerspaces and community was set up. So within Opennex, since we had six pilots in 4 different makerspaces, we started with 3 at the first stage, which is the pilot stage, and create what we called Opennex clusters. So the cluster is simply a makerspace that provided supports to two SMEs. So the clusters at the beginning of the project were just simply divided geographically. So we had 3 different clusters, one in Berlin. And we had the industry that were in focus. So our 6 SMEs are coming from eco-friendly mobility, are coming from build-to-order furniture, and also consumer electronics. So the first, I will just now take you roughly through a different example, different pilots that we have done in the past 9 months. So within the first cluster, which is the German cluster or the Berlin cluster, FabLab Berlin or prototypes, we're supporting Sono Motors. Sono Motors is creating a very interesting self-charging electric car, and they have a huge, very active community that they wanted to co-create add-ons. So you want to customize your own car, and this actually was done together. There was an open call between FabLab Berlin and also Sono Motors. Community got engaged. They were voting for ideas, and also it reached the prototyping level within the Sono Motors. So now we have 6 kind of a very successful add-ons. You can look more into our website to just look at that. The next project was about a completely open source developed what we call Open Science Lab, which is a chip that you could also extend using a mobile app, and that will help you do measurements. So it's like a lab in your pocket. And the idea from the pilot was to move this product from being a geek developed product into a consumer product. In the next cluster, moving to the Amsterdam cluster, we had VAG as the Fab Lab there. VAG supported first Sodak, an IoT company that was that wanted to develop an air monitoring sensor, and this was developed within Opennex and will be very soon launched in the European market. The very interesting thing about this case is that the community members were developers, but the more interesting part of the community were the citizens who are going to adopt this. This project is quite interesting, and it was developed closely also with the municipality of the city of Amsterdam. Another project was the Fiction Factory. The idea of the project, VAG supported Fiction Factory to be able to utilize the waste that comes out of their CNC machine and transform that with other designers into several products that could be used. So it was mainly a sustainability project. Moving on to the Danish cluster or the Copenhagen cluster, we had their makerspaces maker, which was supporting on the left side, XYZ Cargo. So XYZ Cargo is a very interesting bike manufacturing. They just develop modular cargo bikes. And the idea of the pilot is that they just do add-ons. So they have the main bike, and they do add-on, and then it just moves on to be very modular and to adapt different functionalities. So within Opennex, Maker and XYZ Cargo moved on to design online with many communities and also university students, and they reached actually a full prototyping of an add-on of food truck, and also a table for woodworks. And this is just there. You can visit their website or look at our website to see how the whole thing went from a competition to successful design to prototyping and actual product. The last case, which is the sticker and maker case, is a case that I want to just go a bit in deep and talk about it. So Stika is a manufacturing of manufacturing of furniture in Denmark, and together with Maker, they wanted to they were identifying a desk which is called last desk, but they believed that there is no one desk that fits all, and they wanted to move to add to this desk, to customize the desk differently by adding what we call like plugins. So Maker and Stika decided that, okay, we want to just do this together with the community and make this kind of, and prolong the lifespan of this desk, make it as modular as possible, make it as customizable as possible. So the pilot started, they had two different mindsets. They wanted to address online communities, but also they were highly interested in the local communities. So because of the corona, they started with the online. They made an open call last December, and they also launched it out, and they invited designers to come in and also design. They had very specific, all the projects are doing this collaboration on our partners Wikifactory platform, but with the Stika, they added on their own platform because they are highly committed to the open source movement. So this was were developed in Stika.open. But then since the corona was slowing down, they were able actually to just then tackle or look into the local communities by moving the desk in. Just they took the desk and put it in the middle of the maker spaces. And this was a very interesting experiment, because then the maker community, people working there in maker spaces, started to go around the desk and ask what's going on, and then have the feel and the touch, and then decided to just also jump in. So then co-design and co-creation sessions were happening. A lot of design were done within the maker spaces and also online. So you could see some of them here. So you can add a board, you can add a plant, you can add a sound system, whatever you would like. And this just was really super successful. Stika also took the interested community members into their manufacturing facility, where they continue the prototyping the prototyping together. The desk itself plus the plugins or the add-ons are all available. They're 100% open source, and Stika believe that this is a viable business model. So just to close my presentation, key takeaways from the 9 months. What have we learned? So starting with the idea of who is your community. So at the beginning, we really struggle to define what do we mean by when we say company community collaboration. But from the examples that I have just said, and going through this journey with those SMEs, we find that the community is just very particular. They can be local communities, they can be designers, they could be students, they can be community of concerns or citizens. So it's highly dependable on the project, and also on what do you want to do with the community. The second takeaway is the role of the Fab Lab. At the beginning, we had in mind when we had the Fab Lab with us in Opennex that they're going to just be a prototyping facility. But then the Corona challenged us all, and then we looked into that the Fab Labs can have a more role of facilitation the whole co-creation process. The degree of openness and how to create values. We have, this is just really an open question still, because we have companies that are highly committed to the to the complete open source hardware principle. Some of them are still figuring out what should they open and how they could create value. So thank you very much for your attention. We are now opening a call to recruit 12 more SMEs to join Opennex. If you know anybody who would be interested in such a collaboration, contact me directly via my email, or just follow our page, opennex.eu. Thank you very much. I will hand back to Michael.
Thank you very much. Please stay a little bit with me, because I have a few questions for you too. So thank you very, very much for that really comprehensive and insightful presentation. And you are really focusing on SMEs, and you even gave some opportunities to SMEs right now who still want to participate. So still time to really get engaged into that project. I see the question in the chat too. So Vlad, I'm just going to see if this will be answered already because you posted quite early. And after my questions, maybe you can even rephrase what is still left from your question. So what I really wanted to know is what are the obstacles that businesses usually face when trying to work together with community members as such an open innovation strategy? There must be quite some.
Absolutely, a quite interesting question. So, working with communities has quite several challenges. Some of them are just the one that comes to mind directly is like, how do I identify my community? How do I reach out to them? How do I steer them? How can I filter a lot of information that's being created by them? How I keep my community alive? These are major obvious obstacle that companies would face. But also during the journey that we had in Opennex, we noticed also that there is more into this, that sometimes the companies and communities has different mindsets. So so companies has to start understanding that community members are individuals and also not company employees, and they have their own way of they have their own pace, they have their own ideas, and they have their own motivations. So dealing with them is quite differently, and instead of just providing direction, you want to align your direction with where they want to go. I think for me is the major mindset or the major challenge would be the mindset. So if the companies has to understand what is the mindset of the community member individuals, and then how they can deal with them. I hope I answered your question. I can't hear you.
Yes, very well. Thank you very much. So another one would really be on that business model, and this is very linked to the question in the chat, and we will also have that in the panel. Like, okay, open hardware might be viable business models, or some of the partners might like it a lot. And then the question really is sharing all your designs and favorite recipes with the whole world and still make profit. How will that work? And how will the SMEs also, how do they see it within your project? I guess they see it differently, but yeah, what are the perspectives there maybe?
Absolutely. So living in a world where we all grew up understanding that you have to hide your design, IP, just do it as fast as possible. Don't tell anyone. Gain the biggest market share is how you make business. Changing this mindset is moving towards complete openness or open hardware is still radical. Within the company, within the project, we have found some companies that are highly interested into this, like Stika, the furniture company that I talked about, who believe that opening up their the complete design of their desk won't actually harm them, but actually is a way to create revenues and to boost up their business ideas. Because if the desk is there, the more design developed with the communities, then the more noise around the desk, the more customers that they come. They see absolutely no harm. And other people like Sono Motors, the car and the bike example, they want to keep the major part for themselves. So the design of the car, of course, this is an expensive process. They want to keep it, but they are willing to open up partially. And they believe that customization of plugins or add-ons will then make their car even more special. But that's also very fine and very acceptable. Others still struggle to define how can we make money. But this is also for us, or for our partners who are looking at the business side, is an open question. We're trying to, and also I believe that it's highly dependable on the nature of the project. So if it's a desk or a car. So yeah, I think we'll still be looking into this further in the demonstration phase.
Very good. We will be keen to know about the outcomes after the next phases too. Okay, so then I have Vlad Lichtenthal here, having asked a question very early, and I believe some of that has maybe already been answered, but maybe you can even raise your voice if you wish and reformulate the question, what is still open from your side. Great, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Lyle Lichtenthal. I own an open innovation studio in Helsinki, and I'm currently writing my second dissertation, this time on open innovation. So I was asking myself when I saw your examples if this is user-driven innovation or open innovation. The classic open innovation is about big corporations with a portfolio of ideas that have undergo a very strict process of selection with stage gates and killing ideas and so on. It's very clear who owns the IP in that case. In your case, if you have a lot of users coming in, you have very fragmented input at different stages in your process, right? So my question was, who owns the IP? Who decides whether a project will be stopped or if there will be a follow-up or something? These are open questions in my view, which you haven't addressed.
Okay, so thank you very much for the question. Here, there is no IP. We're actually against that. So what we're trying to promote here is that we want to just go open and have a way to pay back for the community. So the ideas that are developed within the scope of Opennex or this collaboration between companies and communities are completely open. So the company would not own them. They are there, they're documented, they are published. Anybody can use them. Like for example, the add-ons. One of it was a mobile holder inside your Xeon car. The design is published. You can 3D print it at your house and put it in your car. So absolutely, we're trying to just move away from ownership here and trying to give back to the community. So it's just a way that everybody, the community show their interest. They're coming in. The company is just orchestrating the process. So they announce the call, they bring them in, they can bring them to their facility to develop those prototypes if the prototypes are interesting, but the designs are out there for everyone.
I can maybe add something here. Like we will have that business models presentation as the last one. So after the 4 projects, so you will hear more about different, like how different projects maybe also tackle that IP issue. And maybe just to say, really coming from the classical point of view, like one company, for example, thinking about open innovation, this is a little bit in contrast also what those collaborative EU projects do. So maybe we can't really call it the classical way anymore, but nevertheless, I think it's a really nice and good approach also in terms of co-creation. You will see that in the other projects too, although not all of them will have IP free for everybody. So this is maybe a specialty also of your project. Not all might be the same there. Okay, very good. But then I would say we would jump into the next presentation. Thank you very, very much, Mahara, and you will stay with us for the panel anyway. We will see you later on. And then I would ask Manuel if you could already put up your presentation. Oh, you are there already. And then if you could already put up your presentation. Yes. So while that, I'm going to tell the rest of the audience whom we have here. So this is Manuel Sanchez from IDIM in Spain. As you can see, again, we're going all across Europe here. He's going to present the iProduce project to us, which is a social manufacturing framework. Very interesting. And he works as a research and development area in the research and development area of IDIM. This is a metal processing, wood, furniture, and packaging technology institute. His background includes additive manufacturing, computer-aided design, clean technologies, and cluster development too. And he here is as the coordinator of this project, the iProduce project. So welcome, Manuel, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Really, I want to thank all the attendants for being here this afternoon, and of course the organizers for inviting our iProduce project to this Open Innovation Congress. Well, open innovation is a well-known and well-experienced concept. I'm here to talk about social manufacturing, which is definitely not so popular. But as the former presenter has shown, we are all around a very similar concept, and we will use very similar terms when referring to that. I like to say that social manufacturing is a term that comes from participation. You know, a clear general trend in these years show that citizens increasingly participate and contribute and decide in different areas. And specifically, when we talk about users have a growing role on the conception and marketing of products, and have a growing role in the co-creation and collaboration with industry in the production of basically consumer goods. So somehow we are moving the traditional production chain towards what we could call social manufacturing. We at the I Produce project want to make this participation, this involvement, kind of systematic and highly productive. So basically, our approach is to create ecosystems, another word which has been used, local ecosystems, with manufacturers, consumers, and makers as an interface layer in between these two, engaging them in the so-called co-creation challenges, which include, of course, manufacturing, and with a set of practices, methods, and tools to support and optimize this interaction. And more or less, these are the basics of our social manufacturing framework. The multi-stakeholder ecosystem, remember, manufacturing companies, consumers, makers, and a set of tools focused around co-creation and within the consumer goods arena. So, user-driven, consumer-driven, and of course favored, hopefully improved, by a set of bespoke tools and methodologies and practices. Okay, it is true, and I will repeat basically 3 words during my presentation, but these 3 words are communities and ecosystems, are facilities, you will see that, and methods and tools. But it is true that these communities and ecosystems, by the way, local, will be the cornerstone of our social manufacturing framework in the project. The special thing about these ecosystems is that they are structured around what we call collaborative manufacturing demonstration facilities, or CMDFs. And yes, they are facilities. They are infrastructures where these local communities may engage in training, as the former presenter said, not only prototyping or producing, but engaging in training, in validation, in co-creation, in awareness for the rest of the community or for the rest of the ecosystem, and so on and so forth. Of course, prototyping, production, testing of the newly developed products. For all these facilities, for all these CMDFs, our project, besides, will be developing an integrated digital space with tools and features that will allow for seamless integration of all these roles and all these profiles in this CMDF operation among all the roles that populate the ecosystem. These CMDFs we have created in our project 6 in France, Spain, Italy, Denmark, Germany, and Greece. They are kind of sectorial CMDFs oriented to sectors such as, or activities such as automotive, furniture, microelectronics, medical, electronics, and just to give you some figures, the ecosystems around each of one of these 6 CMDFs have an average of 22 stakeholders in the CMDF. We have structured the so-called core group in each of the CMDFs, which are the key partners, between 5 and 7, including the partners from the project, or also external entities. And we will test how the CMDFs work and how the social manufacturing approach works in 19 use cases. We have defined, we have just started to develop with our structure and our tools. Basically, communities / ecosystems, facilities, CMDFs, and the open integrated digital space is what makes the social manufacturing framework in iProduce. But what we should show you is how this is expected to change and improve the way the products are developed and manufactured. So if we take, in this case, the very classical model of from idea to product, it's a very linear model in which you have different steps. You get the idea, you transform this idea, which are basically requirements, into design specifications, more or less complex. Once the design is ready, you go to the prototyping phase, where the first part of the testing is done, the first part of the manufacturing is done, and finally you go to final production with an eye, with a clear eye on the market, and with a clear eye and durability and safety, and of course economics of the final product. This is very linear approach, and I have to say with increasing difficulty, because the resources and the competencies you need for each of these 4 big rough steps are, of course, each time more complicated. Obviously, it would be much easier if we could reach all these competencies and resources from a single outlet. And that's what initially the CMDF is intended for. We have here the confluence of the user and the rest of our ecosystem, and the exchange of ideas, constraints, specifications, requirements, the access to prototyping, the knowledge related to the market, to the manufacturing. Everything, in fact, becomes more linear, although it looks like contradictory, but it's more linear, and it is straightforward because all your knowledge is available in a single occasion. So again, this is completely theoretical, but sounds logical at least. And iProduce wants to go a step further in this approach. And basically what we want is improve primarily the ability of the user, the consumer, to engage in all these different tasks, all these different steps, and all these and all the interactions related and included in this process. So we are providing a set of tools that will improve the way, will facilitate the way the user faces all these steps. So we have a mobile app to get the view of the market so that the ideation phase it's more productive. We have a generic matchmaking tool to get all the competencies within your community or even outside of your community, because iProduce aims at building not only local infrastructures, local facilities, local communities, but a federation of these local communities, therefore creating a pan-European network around a set of different CMDFs. So this matchmaking tool could perfectly find competence somewhere else and integrate it through the open innovation space in the operation of the local CMDF. Whenever we talk about design, we also have this generative design platform, which helps the user to design products based roughly on constraints or in parameters or in simple things that he can handle rather than complex design decisions. We have, if we want to train the user more efficiently, we have developed an augmented reality, virtual reality toolkit to produce training material. We also have this, are currently designing a digital Fab Lab kit to formalize all the knowledge included in the makerspaces or Fab Labs or these interface layers of makers within the facility. We also have a process orchestration or so-called engineering workflow tool for which we can systematize all the steps to be carried out in terms of production. And we also have considered since the very beginning an IPR and transaction management system based on intelligent contracts, so that each step of this process can be perfectly systematized in terms not only of requirements and specifications of the product or of the design, but also in terms of the transaction related to the IP of each, to the contribution to the IP of each of the contributors. So I'd like really to show you how this works, but the fact is that we are in this phase of the project where integration has just started. In fact, it has just started because it starts in month 18th, which is June this year. And during the next 18 months, we're just exactly at half of the project. We are developing this set of tools and at the same time testing them with the 19 use cases. And I am going to use one of these use cases to try to explain a little bit how this will work. Is this one, an intelligent headboard, which is a headboard for a bedroom, initially for a hotel, but also can be done for home. By intelligent, we mean we integrate some kind of electronics that control different elements such as audio, information, ambient in the bedroom. The fact that the company which is involved in this challenge has not this product in the line and wants to develop that, but has never worked with the contract channel, for instance, and basically has never worked with such an intelligent furniture. So the CMDF comes into play. The manufacturer looks in the matchmaking and the marketplace for space to look for additional competencies, in this case, competencies related to the users, a focus group, which includes some people from the contract channel, and I've seen designers, also designers and people who prototypes. We work with the generative design platform to do the design of the different headboards once decided the rules that govern the design. And since this is going to the contract channel, the process automation tool is a really valuable tool because it helps integrate all the process, even though it's open, into a quality system. You have a small figure of this headboard in there, a small caption of this headboard in there, the screens of the interface, and the flow and the design and manufacturing flow expected with the participation of the different profiles in the process. So basically, this is what we are trying to validate in each of the 19 use cases in our project. And basically, that is everything I wanted to explain it to you. Just to remember that please drop by our website where most of the information is. We have our deliverables information about our partners, or third parties, the CMDFs, the news, reports, wherever. And well, thank you for this 17 minutes. I am afraid I was a little slow in my explanation, but thank you again. And I hope to see you in our website, and I expect your questions.
Thank you very much, Manuel. So thanks for giving us all those insights, also on a very concrete example, which is still planned. And we heard a lot, like the name already says it, social manufacturing. So this is already like a social manufacturing framework. You will be involving a lot of people. So it's, of course, important to have an engagement strategy for that. So what is this engagement strategy, and how do you really keep this bond and also keep the continuous involvement of the people?
One of the things that prevents these initiatives from being successful sometimes is just what you say. It's not the word involvement, it's the word continuous. It's the word continuous, which is really interesting. People tend to lose the illusion on this open world or on this collaborative world whenever there is no flow, continuous flow on these actions. So that is one of the reasons we have decided to go for the local level, because it is much easier to guarantee a flow of action, a continuous flow of actions around a facility which is locally based, with a locally based ecosystem and community, than, for instance, maintain a complete network of people who has very different levels of activity. Sometimes it's one hot topic, and sometimes there is another one. But at the local level, you can guarantee an activity plan which, maybe being not very intense, is at least continuous. So we are stressing on the activity plans of our CMDFs and trying them to get what we call the engagement events. Well, I think the word is a good one, really. Engagement events or engagement actions which are distributed along time, so that we can be sure that these activities keep having the ecosystems active, or at least aware of.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a very linked question for you in the chat. You have answered part of this already, I think. Is the social manufacturing initiative connected to universities or universities of applied sciences? If not, or maybe if in addition, who are the users and what ensures their long-term commitment? I think you've talked about the bonding already, but who are the stakeholders who are getting involved there?
We got very different types of stakeholders, but basically everyone who has, well, everyone is not the right word, but basically profiles which have to do with creation. So we have designers, we do have universities, not majority, but we do have university. We have administrations because they sometimes they do a big role on training and on awareness of certain communities. Of course, the manufacturing companies and the so-called technical actors. Sometimes they are universities, sometimes, as in my case, we are technical centers which work at the same time with small and medium-sized companies, with individuals which are producers or creators or designers. And also we have a role, we have a link with the local administrations and the regional administrations.
Okay, thank you very much. So a really diverse group of stakeholders too. I think we will see that in the other presentations too, and we will jump to the next one now. So thank you very, very much, Manuel, and we will still see you in the panel later on. So we would then move to Shandana. So if you could already start sharing your screen, I would, yes, we can already see it, not in presenter mode yet, but I will still say a few words about you anyway. So Shandana is working as a chief scientist in SINTEF in Norway. Again, you see the European spread here of the project as such. He possesses a PhD in process technology, specializing in powder and particulate technology. He also works as an adjunct professor at the University of Southeastern Norway, and he now is the main coordinator of the DIY for You project. So Shandana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mikey. Please also confirm my slides is up and running.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. So it is very good to be here, and also nice that participants are here. And also my plan is to simply have a walkthrough about our project DIY for You, as Mikey already informed, and also focusing a little bit about how we achieve this manufacturing of personalized FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, through these keywords of today's event, co-creation through open innovation. So as Mike informed, I am here representing SINTEF. SINTEF is the project coordinator of this project DIY for You. On behalf of the DIY for You consortium, I'm very happy to be here and present this project idea and the possibilities. Let me go and show you a bit about project detail. Of course, these many informations are very similar to our sister project, but just highlighting a little bit, the project is funded under Horizon 2020 under this European Factories of the Future, digitizing and transforming European industries and services. A bit about specific information about DIY for You. Project is 3 years project, starting from 2019, run through until 2022. Our budget is something like 6.8 million euro, and we are in a way, as all of our sister project, we are in the middle of the project, so M18 passing the month 18. So we have 13 partners, industries, big industries, and also R&D partners representing 8 countries. Showing a little bit about the spread of our partners' location, as you can see here. We are all over the Europe, and also there are the logos and so on. Just highlighting here, as I said, this is a quite interdisciplinary consortium. We have big companies like Procter & Gamble, who is main producer of FMCG, not only in Europe, also in global level. And also we have chemical industries, chemical expertise, formulation expertise, and so on. And also we have online measurement expertise, simulation, computational tools, ICT expertise, and also business model developers, engineering companies, and data security experts as well. So altogether, as said, what we are trying to do is to address one big issue in European market, through this co-creation and collaborative design, collaborative manufacturing, and so on. Just giving you a short information about motivation and project concept in a way, as informed earlier, as said earlier, our target is to address this fast-moving consumer goods sector, FMCG. I'm pretty sure that all of us know this area. Our day-to-day life, we are dealing with many of those products. And of course, this is a key business sector in Europe, not only Europe, also in global level, creating revenues and business opportunities and social life as well. One main thing in this business sector is that many of the products are cost-based. You know that this is those are mass production. Through the mass production processes, many of the things are done. But when we get into especially the FMCG, they are very connected to our personalized needs and preferences and so on. So we would very much like to see the concept like made for me, or some sort of customized production processes and so on. So this is a sort of non-challenge in the field, non-challenge in the business sector. This is because of the lack of adequate infrastructure. So that is where this customization or personalization of FMCG has not been get into high level in the production and manufacturing processes. This is exactly where the consumers and also new actors, especially SMEs, in participating in designing and production process of that. So our idea here, our aim here through the DIY for You project is to make this value chain, make a sort of seamless collaboration from the customer to the producer, or the producer to the customer, addressing the holistic collaborative production process through open innovation, addressing some sort of manufacturing, getting different manufacturing ecosystems into action and so on. Though it is our aim during the project, in the project is FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, we can also see quite a lot of application in other areas, especially in process manufacturing industries, food and beverages, pharmaceutical, cosmetic, paint. So they are quite this concept can be applied for such industrial sectors as well. So this is a bit unique of the DIY for You project out from between our other sister projects. Here we are addressing the process manufacturing, non-discrete manufacturing in a way. Let me just show you about our vision and ambition in a way. As mentioned earlier, our aim is to deliver an end-to-end digitally supported supply chain with the formulators, designers, consumers, and so on, to enable personalization of fast-moving consumer goods, especially detergent and soap in a way. And also our aim is to address the blockers of product customization and also enhance this small, medium enterprises, SMEs involvement in small scale manufacturing, designing and development of the process. So how we are going to do it, as you can see here, we are going to make an open innovation digital platform connected with Fab Lab. I don't think we need to get into that because this word has been used, but this is here in this case, in this context, it is manufacturing demonstration facilities. So digital platform and Fab Lab as the two main tangible outcome of the project concept. So we through strong collaboration, through strong interaction between the digital platform, where we understand the customer need and analyze against the regulations and LCA analysis and so on, we get this information to the Fab Lab, where we really manufacture the product. And also we get back the information back to the digital platform in order to enhance our knowledge base and so on. Of course, this is a sort of new approach to the business sector, which is normally the mass production is dominated. So we are also addressing this business model, connected business model of the project concept. Of course, here we have two approach, how we can get business to customer need and also business to business need and so on. So these are the two elements in the business model behind this main thing. So just showing you a bit about, again, highlighting what is the main concept here, what is the main features of these two tangible outcome of the project. For example, in a digital platform, we are going to use quite modern technologies like blockchain, DLT technologies, to enhance the collaboration, how we can effectively collaborate between different partners and so on. We have already addressed this issue, IPR and such things. So this technology will provide us some very good technology to enhance, improve that collaboration. And also we are going to use digital twin technology, advanced data analytic, knowledge-based computational model, LCA, life cycle analysis, in order to find, minimize the waste and also minimize the environmental footprint of the products and so on. Of course, this is the platform is some sort of plug and produce feature, so that we can invite, we can enhance, we can co-incorporate non-consortium products into the digital platform as well. If we consider the other side, hardware part, these are the main features, like we are going to address intensification, how we can make the product intensified way, and also different unit operations. As I mentioned earlier, the production process has, of course, there are different unit operation, how we can make them in a smart way, feedstock automation, advanced process control, process analytical technology, like how we can enhance, how we can monitor the quality of the product and so on. So these are the main features of the two units, digital platform and Fab Lab. Just showing you a little information about our Fab Lab manufacturing demonstration facilities. As you can see here, the scale. This is going to completely design and fabricate with our partners within the consortium. So this will, as you can see here, this will include different unit operations, automation, and behind that we have the interface between the digital platform and this unit. Yes, without getting into the detail on that, I am just here. I would like to highlight the need of working with different stakeholders. Of course, as you can see here, here in this case, we are dealing with different stakeholders. We have customers. We have Fab Lab owners, independent formulators, and so on. So how we can make sure this effective collaboration between these stakeholders, that is where our business model, business experts would like to put together their knowledge and experience. So what we are doing here, we define different user cases and also then the business model to enhance the collaboration, to enhance the effectiveness between these stakeholders. I'll show you one user case in a way, just in the medium side, something like user case, we call it customize and collect For example, when we get the retailer as the centric point here, and then how we can collaborate, how we can connect the different stakeholders. For example, how we can get the feedstock supplier to the Fab Lab unit, and regulators and formulation experts and such people. So likewise, we are going to, we have defined different user cases in different level, and then based on that, we will get the project. During the project, we define that on. Also, we have planned to elaborate it during the post-project or after project scenario as well. Just showing you a little bit about DIY for you concept possibilities. Of course, as mentioned here, mentioned earlier, there are possibilities in food, pharmaceutical, cosmetic, paint, and so on, addressing the personalized need like allergy, dietary needs, and such things, and also fragrance, something like preferences, and so on. So these are some sort of some sort of features in business to customer need. Not only that, also we see a possibility in this concept applying in industrial R&D, for example, in chemical metallurgy, batteries, fuel cells, and so on. So where we need some sort of rapid prototyping, testing of new formulation, and so on. So that is also one business sector. Probably we will not get into that during the context of our project, but this is a possibility, in a future possibility, and we will we keep that in also in mind. Bit about project structure. As mentioned earlier, we have two tangible outcome here: the digital platform, Fab Lab, where we actually produce the products, FMCG, detergent, solid and liquid detergent. And here we can see the flow, like definition of user cases, testing of designing platform, testing and including extension of platform, and so on. And also Fab Lab design, feedstock manufacturing demonstration, and also we include some training part component here also. I would like to highlight one component here, one in a way activity where we one can question, okay, what is the openness of this concept? Because this is, of course, many of the activities are within the consortium, but it is not worthy to say that we have this activity called open innovation competitions and open innovation projects as one of the working activity under this project. What we are going to do here, that we are going to open up our infrastructure facilities like digital tools and hardware units to the non-consortium partners to get and test their ideas and so on. So we will call, we have called it is like a competition. So we open it up, and also then we make now make some sort of evaluation through the application process, and then we provide funding for SMEs especially to get involved with the project and so. Just highlighting about a bit of our information on open innovation projects and competition under the DIY for You project. We are going to call the application from SMEs, and also the maximum budget will be something like 50,000 euro, and project duration is 6 months. So we are going to do it in 2 rounds. Already we have opened one call, and now we recently called the application. Now it is ongoing. So we have this excited event tomorrow to have with the winners, the kickoff meeting with the winners. And also the next round will be open in November 2021, end of this year, close to end of this year, especially addressing on the hardware units and so on. So please keep on tune in on so that you can also apply and involve with us in these competitions and so on. Yes, so yeah, just showing you a picture of our happy partners here. As many in the sister project, this was the picture was taken on the first and last in-person meeting before we hit from this pandemic. So this was the kickoff meeting, and also you can see here some of our social media link. Please do follow our project if you are interested into getting into more details and so on. Having said that, I thank you for your attention, and floor is back to you, Mike.
And thank you very much for your interesting presentation, also on the details of software and hardware behind the platform and the broad range of stakeholders that you have there. We have, maybe putting that question first, you're competing in a way with the rest of the world with such a concept. But how do you then set off the competitive pressure induced by economies of scale? Can you say a few words on that? And then we also have a specific question from the chat for you.
Yeah, very good question, Mike. Yeah, that is, of course, yes. This concept is new. Concept is quite new, so we have to work quite smartly here in order to get disrupt this conventional business model and so on. So one way is that we are going to make a specialty production, as said, customized production and added value production and so on. So highlighting the low waste, low environmental footprint and such things, we have to promote it. We have to have a good market strategy on that. On the other hand, of course, as I mentioned in the presentation, we are going to adopt this new technology in production process. For example, this flexible or adaptable production unit operations and so on. So we strongly believe that this process will enhance our cost-effective production processes as well. So that will be our aim of competing and also making it cost-effective product in future.
Okay, thank you very much. And maybe a question specifically to detergents and soaps, which is a very interesting example. In fact, here it says they are normally low involvement products, and also the European market size. Is this very high for customized soaps? And maybe is the market even growing through Corona because soap is used much more right now? Maybe you can give a quick answer to that one too.
Yeah, they are very, very right. That is also a very important point here. Through our initial market study, we saw that, okay, the detergent and soap, they are not very much in a high level of this personalized personalized needs and so on. But this is, as said, this is a sort of case study how we can make it happen for this business sector. But we also think the same method can be adapted in other high demand, for example, cosmetic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that would be very, very interesting, very applicable thing here as well. But as you rightly said, Mike, this is now with the pandemic situation. So we have been hampering, like in some cases, we have this spirit that we are using for our hand sanitization and so on. Some get allergy and some get, such things. So this is the thing that we take this as a sort of case study, but we have plans to engage in other business sectors as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So we would then also jump into the next presentation. You will be prepared to still answer questions about business models in the panel afterwards. And then I would call Laurent to put up your presentation already. Yes, so Laurent, we can see you already. We will shortly see the presentation, I believe. Yes, the colors are already coming. So Laurent is a co-founder and scientific manager of the Lorraine Fab Living Lab, the research platform for prospective assessment of innovative usage and innovation acceptability. sounds a bit complicated. You can say maybe in the beginning a few words on what that is. And you are in charge of a master in territorial innovation, and Laurent is involved in several European projects as work package leader or as expert on user-driven collaborative innovation, living labs, innovation space, smart and sustainable city. So a very good fit here. And he's also an active member of various scientific societies. So I will let you, Laurent, now take the word, and maybe you can answer that question of this living lab, what the platform is for, because that sounds very interesting too. So we can see your slides very well, by the way.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for this invitation and these nice workshops. I think I will give you some answer about Fab Living Lab platform in my presentations, because we use this platform for the INEDIT project. So if I need to give you more information, I can answer at the end of the presentation. Thank you for the previous presenters, because I think we have some keywords now. So I will try to go in other aspects, focusing on specific demonstrations developed by INEDIT. A few words about INEDIT. It's a proposal focusing on open innovations for collaborative production engineering, and there are 4 SMEs, 2 RTD centers, 6 universities, and 2 large companies involved together in this project since 2019. You can see the map, but I think I don't need to detail more this aspect. INEDIT demonstrates the potential innovations of social manufacturing models, creating an open innovations European to eat together ecosystem for sustainable furniture co-creations. So I will detail more the do-it-together concept. The do-it-together concept approach is a transition from the do-it-yourself phenomenon. This is limited to a small type of actors at a determined local scale to a more open and collaborative dynamic, including heterogeneous actors who are not necessarily located in the same area. So you can see on the picture, we try to improve the concept of do-it-yourself concept. The do-it-together can be defined as a social product development process based on a democratic co-design and open manufacturing of customized products assisted by a community of professionals and experts. This approach integrates an iterative process based on experience design focused on improving the user experience. The do-it-together is carried out more closely with the users and the final customer of the products created in a dynamic of collective intelligence, bringing new value and fully integrated into the processes of open innovations and innovations by use. Specific innovation space, ecosystem, logistic, and business model need to be designed and implemented, allowing a spread to private sector, in particular SMEs. Furthermore, the novel approach must consider societal and environmental challenges, nowadays conceptualized through the circular economy. So you will see in this project, we deeply focus on circular economy. INEDIT intends to demonstrate through its twin digital and physical platform the potential innovations around social manufacturing within the circular economy in designing global while producing local. In order to develop this approach, it is proposed to use acquired knowledge in terms of methods, tools, and practices used by makers in Fab Labs, and also by innovators in living labs, as we will see in the next part, and other innovations, intermediaries, or places. In fact, in INEDIT, we designed a systemic representations of the do-it-together approach, including the co-creations parts and a simplified view of the open manufacturing parts, where only the important functions are presented. In reality, the open manufacturing part is more complex, with many interactions between the stakeholders involved. Indeed, it is a multi-scale process. The first scale is cognitive. This scale contains the processes by which stakeholders gain knowledge about the environment. The second scale, focusing on product, or we can talk also about tangible elements. These scales contain the processes that leads to the obtaining of evidence or obvious results. And finally, the third scale is the ecosystem that includes all the processes leading to the manufacture and distribution of the product and requires the contributions of companies. The activities within the co-creation processes and open manufacturing processes allow to move from one scale to another. In fact, INEDIT channels the creativity of customers, shapes its true designers' professional skills, and make it very viable by leveraging on the expertise of production specialists in order to deliver sustainable, smart, and personalized new products in a shorter time to market. In this project, we want to prove the technical feasibility for the co-creation phase and the open manufacturing phase. We want also prove the business model validity for such a process. To prove that, one of the INEDIT objectives is to design and implement a framework of replicable open manufacturing demonstration facilities, allowing stakeholders to switch from conceptualizations to materializations with the adapted sustainable logistic in a do-it-together dynamic. In our context, this replicable OMDF supports an innovative furniture manufacturing network, including customers, makers, suppliers, producers, etc., as soon as possible in the process. Furthermore, this manufacturing network must consider sustainable development and smartifications according to the diversity and richness of the project's partners' ecosystems. The INEDIT Open Manufacturing Demonstrator Facilities framework is designed, developed, and assessed through multiple case studies in Spain, Portugal, Switzerland, Italy, and also in France, as we will see after, within existing facilities that will be networked through INEDIT online platforms. So we have 4 demonstrators, physical demonstrator, and 1 digital demonstrator. So after 1.5 years following our Fab Living Lab approach, we evaluated the technical development for the co-creation phase. Using a tablet or a smartphone, we are able to scan a room and draw a sketch in the virtual environment generated by the INEDIT application. So you can see the video now showing where we are now. So I think we don't have the time to see all the videos, so I will take the liberty to skipping some passages. So here you can see the tablet. We scan the room. And after that, just after the scan, we are able to use the software Time to Sketch, and we go in the virtual environment. And here we are able to use the tool to draw inside the virtual environment. And in the other video, in the bottom, the top, sorry, of the slide, you can see my colleagues using the tools and drawing what you want to draw inside the virtual environment. 4 use cases aim to prove how the avant-garde technologies developed in INEDIT project enable the productions of customized products. The role of the use cases are as follows. Vera Goods and SM act as an innovations hub supporting the co-design steps, producing the furniture frame, assembling the final product, and repairing the used products. Hyman in Spain is a manufacturer of large wood components and small furniture using robotic 3D printing. University of Lorraine is a supplier of recycled plastic components and 3D recycled plastic equipment. And finally, Uninova in Portugal is a provider of supportive solutions for the implementations of intelligent components. And for the next step, I will focus on our French use case. In the following, we will focus on this Université de Lorraine use case, the recycled plastic 3D printing open manufacturing demonstrator facilities, and we will try to illustrate the impact of this OMDF at the different scale of the and the role of the open innovation. The French open manufacturing demonstrator is based on the first Gigabot X in Europe, direct drive poly extrusions-based printers purchased by our own team at the beginning of the INEDIT project. Here, the open innovation approach is supported by several dimensions: collaborative research on open source hardware, the technical feasibility of recycling assessed, the co-design of furniture supported by prototypes, and the local closed-loop manufacturing network supported by smart collector. So we have 4 dimensions. And you can observe some picture of the design of experiments approach adopted by my colleagues and our open community to evaluate the limit conditions of the open hardware machine using fabrications of printing samples to evaluate the quality considering the INEDIT project conditions. So we have 6 months of picture and video, so you can see how the Gigabot X change across the time. Because it's an open hardware device, we are able to adapt, transform, and share our new developments. And at the bottom you can see a boat. This is a model that allows us to compare the results of the printing process. We are experimenting on our furniture with the customizations approach based on co-creations and materializations with a 3D printed device for storing screwdrivers, as you can see on the right now. In this case, it was a high school student who developed this project during its internship on our platform, our Fab Living Lab platform. So you can see we are able to improve our own furniture with INEDIT project. Furthermore, our platform is located next to whole buildings that are being renovated and turned into a cultural and creative incubators project. This is the Octroi project, Octroi Nancy project. As we will see afterwards, the INEDIT project benefits the city and the holders of the chair project involving citizens, artists, SMEs, and other actors like local authorities. And we are currently exploring the opportunity to implement our demonstrator in these locations to enhance INEDIT's open innovations dynamic, as you can see here. In 2020, due to the COVID pandemic, it was impossible to organize physical co-design workshops. We then took the opportunity to experiment online co-design workshops of furniture with non-designers, future users of this renewed building. In parallel, the architects working for the city designed the first physical prototype. We asked the first users of the place to test the furniture, and with these feedbacks, architects improved their prototype. But this first approach gives some levers to bring designers and non-designers together with the digital platform. Nevertheless, we know we have to improve this process. It's why, to reinforce co-creations, we decided to use the Gigabot X 3D printers and mobilize a group of engineering students to work with architects, users, and researchers. And we were able to print, as you can see on the video, our first elements to customize the furniture of the Octroi seats. And here you can see the test by use with the prototype. And in the next step, we will study if immersive technologies can help us integrate designers in a co-design process involving non-designers. So the objective is to merge our different technology to improve and to design a global process from the co-creations to the open manufacturing process. Beyond our neighborhood, we can see that our open hardware approach is attracting national press interest with 4 articles the last week with a national newspaper. So we are very happy of that. And the most interesting for us and for INEDIT project is the fact that these recognitions has enabled us to establish new links with SMEs, large groups, and regional players to deploy INEDIT technologies. You can see some example on the slide. We are exploring ways to collaborate, including other H2020 projects. Indeed, one of the SMEs, the Alchemy group, is already works, in fact, with eProduce. So we have the opportunity with local actors to make the links with the European project. And in parallel, we develop the same global approach with our 3 other open manufacturing demonstrator facilities. And we will be happy to share with you the future results in another presentations. And finally, I can say that we also lead communities of researchers to share and capitalize on our work. So you can see 2 conference, one conference and one call for paper. And we will have at the beginning of the next year, a nice special issue focusing on do it together approach and innovations. So thank you for your attentions. And if you have questions, I'm here.
Thank you very much, Laurent. So thanks especially for all those videos, which show really hands-on how things work. And I can't wait to design my own furniture with that. So yes, this looks very good. So I would propose we even have the other presentation linked to INEDIT first to have the questions after, because they will explain the business models a bit more in depth. And then will be the question around collaboration on the European context and the business models anyway. So I would now already then switch to Tobias. So Tobias, if you're ready to put up your presentation, because you're then, okay, very good. We see you already.
Sure. Michael,
now see the presentation as well.
one question.
Yes.
Until when do I have time? Like
so
10
for
minutes?
the presentation, max 15 minutes. If you want to explore more on the questions, 10 would be even better, because you have the slide with the related question in yours. So you see Tobias Leiting here from the RTWH Aachen in Germany, from FIA, and he has been working as a project engineer there since 2017 as part of the team of subscription business management and service management division, and also very active in different European projects. I'm going to give the word to you directly, Tobias, to save all the time for you.
Thank you very much, Michael. And first of all, it's a pleasure for me to be here and to give you a slight insight into the business model creation and the process we are actually going through. I think a big part of our project was already presented by Laurent. So I want to highlight a section or part of our work a little bit more that wasn't discussed in detail today. And that is the part of continuation of the project. So the research aspect and the project aspect is one thing, but all 4 projects we already saw today have the focus on continuation over the end of the project. And that's a tough question to continue an open innovation project, an open innovation approach without having the foundation of research money. And we figured out 3 different scenarios how we are able to continue what we developed and what we created within the research project. And one scenario is to have a kind of acquisition. That means we find a company or we find an existing open innovation or co-creation platform, and we put our research and put our unique selling points from the project into their existing solution. The second one is we say now we have founded a very nice basis, and out of this basis, we want to create a kind of startup. So we want, so for example, me, I want to be a startupper, and I want to be somebody, a new entrepreneur who is able to get a startup which is focused on open innovation. And the third one is we create a non-profit organization, and the non-profit organization has the specific target of creating furniture or creating something with an open innovation approach. I want to just slightly go through the three different scenarios, and the biggest point of my presentation is a kind of discussion, because there is no white and black. The solution must be between it, and it's also very, very interesting to learn from the different projects we already heard from today, what kind of solution they selected. So first of all, the acquisition part, that means we search out existing platform. We have, for example, one platform which is involved in our project. The platform is called Fanvoice, and it's thinkable that they say, okay, the aspects you developed or we develop are so important for them that they want to involve, or they want to put them into their existing platform, and they want to grow by integrating our solution into their existing platform. Requirements are for sure they need to then there need to be a kind of agreement within our project. So we are actually not at the point where we thought about which circumstances need to be considered for the kind of integration. We need to have, for example, a major concept there where we can discuss, okay, you probably don't want to integrate everything, but we as a project want that open innovation continues. So how can we make sure that our idea of openness, like Laurent already presented it, can be continued by when it's just integrated? Because on the other hand, they need to have also their own business, and they need to be also kind of independent, because they have their business and they have their own core business, and the merging of both ideas, our project ideas and their existing idea, could be a big challenge. The second idea is we create an own startup. That means the soul or the soil of our startup is the already presented do it together idea and the open innovation idea, and we say, okay, out of this foundation we want to have our idea that is focused on open innovation. And there we have the big challenge of, and that's also something we already discussed today, a startup means somebody wants to have a profit, somebody wants to earn money. But how can you earn money? By, on the one hand, provide wisdom, provide knowledge for free or for a very low price, and on the other hand, be able to have a successful business and cover your existing costs and so on. So there you have the challenge, or the difference between, on the one hand, you want to make money, you want to be successful. On the other hand, you want to continue with the idea of open innovation. And the third idea is to have a kind of association. It could be that we talk to some manufacturers, for example, and they say, okay, your open innovation platform is the knowledge and the knowledge and design driver of us. It could be, for example, a group of furniture producers, and the furniture producers are probably SMEs, so they don't have the biggest capital to create own designs and to facilitate probably innovation with so much money. So when they can innovate together, and one furniture producer is, for example, in Italy, another furniture producer is in France, and a third one is probably in Germany, they are not direct competitors on their local markets, so it's totally okay if they share designs and share ideas, because then the innovation is, for example, cheaper, and they could they could be able to found that NPO with a yearly fee, for example, and the yearly fee covers costs for maintenance of the platform and so on. So these are three different ideas or scenarios. And now I point out what could be discussion points here. So as you have already seen, all 4 projects are in the middle of the project time, and at the moment we are at the point where we need to figure out what will be and must be a scenario, and we need to consider these kind of questions to enhance open innovation and to get the best on the idea of open innovation. And now I hand over to you, Maike, to ask the questions.
Yes, thank you very much. So your camera can stay on. The other projects, panelists can also put their camera on and come back to us into the discussion room. Let's put it like this. Yes, so you are seeing those 3 very specific questions. You could answer one of them or put them together in one answer if you wish. But the main thing is, so these are all projects which are collaborative projects anyway. They will end someday. You are developing things that should survive after the project end, of course. These are tools, these are methodologies, platforms, frameworks, which you still want to exist after your project end. You might have given it a thought already. You're in the middle of your project. Maybe it's just ideas. This doesn't matter, but maybe if we can go, I think we would do the same order as the presentations, which will be the easiest for you maybe as well too. So Mahara, I'm not sure if you have given that already some thoughts, or what your thoughts would be behind that on the business model, and what would you do after the project end?
All right. I think it's a very valid question, since the great efforts that has been put and also of course the resources should not go to waste, and this should live beyond the 3 years of the project. So when talking about Opennex, we are developing, I think there would be no single business plan, because we are developing different things. For example, there is the ICT infrastructure, which is now developed to be hosted in our partner Wikifactory platform. But also there is other features, which is like, for example, a dashboard to just assess the health of the community. This is now under development. It will be hosted in Wikifactory, but also it can be hosted in any other platform. So the University of Bath in the UK is taking care of that and will further pursue this collaboration with other platforms to host it on. We're also developing a maturity model that will be hosted at the TU Berlin, already decided. On the other hand, we are also now, since we are focusing on the role of maker spaces, we are also finding what we called a lab academy. So we want to just develop the concept of the collaboration with SMEs further. This initiative is being started by FabLab Berlin now, and I'm not sure if they're going to do it as an organization, or they are going to earn from it. This has not been discussed yet, but the development of the academy itself is going on. The other tools, business tools, guidelines for documentation, so on and so forth, will be then all documented in a handbook, another outcome of Opennex. So I would then see different ways of how things could live after we're done.
Very nice. Thank you very much. So, Manuel, did you give it some thoughts already, and what are these? Manuel, not sure if you could hear me. Your picture seems a little bit frozen. Otherwise, I would then already jump to Chandana.
Yes, I'll take the chance, Mike. Yeah, this a nice entrance in a way. The points highlighted by Tobias. Of course, during the project, we from DIY for you side, what we are doing now is to trying to understand the also agree upon the ownership of different key exploitable results together with the consortium. And also defining these sort of innovation action or like innovation bit of the project outcome, like through this innovation radar activities and so on. And our main plan in a way after the project that we make a sort of spin out company from the project, of course, identifying the ownership and yeah, through some collaboration and so on. Of course, as Vlad also question about the applicability, definitely we need more R&D, more marketing, more like strategy to get the product out, get this market thing well. So plan, putting it simple, make a spin-off, spin out, and also when make any profit, we put it into the R&D and marketing and so on. So that is the plan, simple.
Chandana, can I ask you a further question there? Where do you find the CEO or the chairman for the spin-off?
Good question, Tobias. This is still under, we have not get into that topic yet. But as mentioned in our project, we have big industry, P&G is there, and also market advisors and expertise and so on. And of course, like our research and technology organization like Syntef, we have internal strategy when we get some result, tangible results, some market ready things. We have some separate elements, separate units to make it them market ready and commercialize. So we will use one of those. Someone will come and take it for sure.
That sounds good. So we also have Manuel back. We see you now moving. The question is still the same. What you see on the screen. What would your answer or thoughts be on that?
Sorry for disappearing. Something crashed on Microsoft Teams. I don't want to mention commercial, but this will happen. And as Mihera said, there is no single, at present, there is no single business plan in April. We're just gathering the different business opportunities that the partners are generating in the foreground in the project are facing, so that we can build the integrated business plan of an otherwise integrated platform and integrated way of doing things, not only by software or registered methodologies or knowledge, but also with people. And honestly, and this is very particular opinion, this is not the opinion of my project. I think the most valuable thing we will have in these projects will be the communities, the involved communities and the involved local structures we can build, and probably, and again it's a very particular view, probably this is the base of the forthcoming business plans in our projects. And I think that one of the probably initially the less popular options of the presentation in Tobias' speech, which was the first one to be acquired, maybe is the logical. Maybe it's the logical because we will have to offer communities, which is really in which they are interested. And probably also we can offer them proof of concept technologies at a certain TRL that will condition, of course, the way we could exploit them towards profitability, either by, for instance, me or other partner in my project, or maybe a third party or whatever. But I think that the actual business plan, the actual exploitation of this model will have to do more with the communities built than with the tools developed, even the methodological tools developed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe even from Tobias or Andreas, something to add from the INEDIT projects, or have you said anything already? So there's a few ideas which could be the route. Is there anything else from your side to add in terms of the INEDIT project, what the answer would be that you have, if you have not given it already in your presentation?
First of all, thanks to all other projects for your insights. That's very fruitful for us as well. So we don't have at the moment make the decision between those three scenarios, but I for myself have a favorite, and the favorite is for myself the startup. On the one hand, it's attractive to create fund a startup. On the other hand, I think there you have the vision for the future. If you create an IPO, it's just to have a self containment, and there's no further development. But if you have a startup, there is investments and there is work and drive to further develop the idea. And in my opinion, that's the way and the only way to continue really on the basis we want to enhance by open innovation. But on the other hand, I think that's the most difficult way because you have to self-sustain you as a startup.
Andreas, just shortly, the last question will go to you, Laurent, for the collaboration aspect, which I would like to close. But first, maybe Andreas, you raised your hand too. Yes.
Yeah, just in addition to what Tobias said. So for us, is the startup the most valuable thing, because I find it quite interesting what Mehera said in her presentation. We think the mind change that you need for implementing business models with open innovation concepts is mostly the hardest challenge which you have in creating something like this. And when you are thinking about the internal motivations which has startups, this is maybe a way for combining the commercial side and the open innovation, where you have to share your ideas and things like this. And when the platform concept is proved by a startup and used for a startup, then you maybe can combine all these aspects from open innovation, creating the platform where all these new and open innovations can be proceeded, and the startup which can commercialize different aspects of the platform. So for us, this is the most interesting challenge, and it was very interesting to hear from you that you have the same challenges.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think as we're a little over time already, I would be about to close, but one very important aspect I think here, because this is also a specialty of our session, is the European aspect and the European collaboration. And Laurent, I know you are working at the same time on the regional level, like with the regional ecosystem for this, but also connecting this to the European level. And of course, you will find opportunities and challenges there, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. But closing positively would mean maybe tell us the challenges first and then the good things towards the end.
So I think in few words it's not easy to answer, but I will try. So thank you everybody for your input. I just want to only add some words about the business plan. I think we can see with our different projects, and I will make the link with collaborations, we have different view on the same for project. We start with different proposal and we make link today with same concept. We use same keywords like Fab Labs, social manufacturing, etc. But we didn't develop the same answer in our local area with our different networks. So I think it's a nice illustrations of the different way to how to collaborate at European level and at regional level. So we have to take into account the barrier of concept, the conceptual barriers, the geographical distance. We have to take also into account the time, because many researchers, producers, makers, design, create previous relevant concept and answer before us. So we have to take into account that and maybe improve or try to add new answer to previous developments. And the last aspect, maybe this is a technological aspect. I try to show you with INEDIT, we're focusing on specific technological development, and the other projects are in the same situations. So we have to find the good balance between concept, technology, business, marketing, science. So it's not always easy, but I think a workshop like today and also our project with open communities with many different stakeholders is a nice opportunity to share at European level and also at local level some new concepts, and I hope design a new way for our society based on shared value and a new kind of collaboration. I don't know if I answered to your question,
Yes,
but
this
I
answered
tried
a lot.
to
So
give.
I would also give the chance to others to comment on the European aspect. If you have not done before, if you still wanted to say something here, is there anybody who still wanted to tackle that one? Okay,
I think Laurent made a great summary, especially of the challenges, talking about the previous time of the project, the pandemic, and we especially for the practical part and the work within the Fab Labs. But we are hoping that now we would be able in the second phase to just overcome this one. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So myself, I'm really happy to have had all of you there, and I think it was a very special example, like collaboration within the project already is open innovation, like working on the same thing, getting industry, SME, academia, and everybody together at one table, which is already a great example of that. And then you are building open innovation tools and methods and platforms and frameworks, which I think, is a very good thing to do. So I'm looking forward to following these projects further, and also, of course, I'm in one of them. And yes, I think we will continue that collaboration between us too with additional workshops. We already got from Vlad a recommendation here. If you want to present your ideas on the open innovation community, to the open innovation community, there's a call for workshops for the World Open Innovation Conference 2021. We already have the link too from Edina, and I think that would be a great chance for us too. So with this, I would close the workshop. I would very much thank all of you, and have a good time, and see you again soon. And bye-bye to the rest of the audience too. Thank you very much for participating. Also for you, Vlad, for your active participation here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.